I want to tell you a story this afternoon. I want to tell you a story about a potential of love that I was given in January of this year. So I always wondered how people ended up homeless. Like, how do people end up homeless when they have family? Doesn't everybody have someone? Doesn't someone have someone? Like, at least one person to help them out, to support them, to encourage them. I want to tell you a story about my experience with becoming homeless. My experience with overcoming my own fear and cultivating a new scenario and situation within my own holy presence. In January of this past year, 2021, I sweetly had an opportunity to observe a potential of love that I didn't even know existed within my family unit. At the time, I was living within a home of a family member and their significant other, and I had been there for about 9 months while I was reevaluating and trying to establish what would come next as I was rebuilding from my quantum crumble. I guess we can talk about a quantum crumble in another episode and talk about what exactly the quantum crumble is and how to survive it. But at this point in our working relationship, sharing a space, I had been under a lot of observation because my family that I was living with, as well as my family who was observing external of my situation, had quietly determined that I had failed in their mind and that I was not successful, that I had failed at life, that me observing the release of all trauma responses and integrating God was actually me becoming... They had their own opinions. It doesn't matter what they thought. I actually don't care what they thought. The truth is that in their ignorance, they performed and cultivated ignorant perceptions of who I am through their own belief systems. In and of this time, I was becoming more strong and more powerful, and I was starting to move differently, knowing that I'm not messing up, that it's not capable. I'm not even capable of messing up. And so I started moving with more authority, and just because I don't have items, I don't have materialistic stuff, my family deemed me unsuccessful. They deemed me an ongoing concern, as this particular family member called me to one of their friends. How's this person doing in your family? How are they? Well, they're an ongoing concern. Oh, is this how we call love? Is this what we call support? An ongoing concern? I don't move in worry, and I don't move in fear, and I don't operate through lack mentalities, because those energies have found me to be integrated into wisdom and truth. I don't move like many people in this world, and I made a post on Twitter that essentially supported my evolution. That you don't have to cower to people because they don't understand you. You don't have to change your perspective and your opinion on yourself and who you are to make other people comfortable. I think the funny thing is I should probably try and find that post to find out what was actually really said. Because after I tweeted it, I pressed post, and 5 minutes later, my family member, one of them, came into the room that I was renting at the time and said, "That's enough. You're out. You disrespected so-and-so through your post." It was a post about my experience, and if other people are disrespected, then that's on them. I don't move to harm other people. I move to heal myself. And I was asked to leave. They gave me 2 weeks to find somewhere to live. They gave me 2 weeks to get out of their house because I had made a post that offended a person so harshly that they couldn't even be in my presence anymore. And immediately I was terrified. I mean, okay, I have 2 weeks. I have no money. I have no job, by the way, because I had asked them if I was able to quit my job in December. I said, am I able to quit my job in December so that I can begin to cultivate my own business? Yes, Sky, you're safe. We support you. 3 weeks later, there was no longer any support. There was no longer any belief in my potential, and they considered me a complete failure and that I was wasting everyone's time, and they asked me to leave because they were offended over a tweet. How does one person become homeless? They become homeless because nobody cares. Genuinely, not a single mutter putter cares about you in this reality. And I found out really fast that not a single person cared about what happened to me. Except for my daughter. Because she too is facing these potentials. She was already homeless because we were already homeless. I was living and renting a room in a place where these people didn't even believe in my potential. They wanted to see me do everything that other people did. Get a normal job. Pay the bills, get a house, get a mortgage. Why aren't you married yet? I'm not like them. I don't move the way that my other people, I guess the other people in my family move. I move through faith, and that terrifies people, terrifies them, because faith has not been birthed through my family lineage in a very, very long time. I have come to break every single generational pattern that is held within our genetic lineage. Not just my own perceptions, beliefs, opinions. I came to integrate the DNA and the blueprint of Christ into my holy presence. And you want to know what? Other people don't have to understand that. And so I became homeless over a tweet because someone found offense. Because they could not control their emotions, I became homeless in 5 minutes of posting a tweet. These people that I was living with at the time, they were very, very kind to me. In fact, they offered shelters. We came up with a list of shelters that you can attend, Sky. They would rather have their beautiful, loved family member that they say they love living at a shelter. I couldn't take my dog to a shelter, but maybe the dog could stay with them. There were talks of possibly leaving my dog behind with them, but heaven forbid I should have somewhere to stay. But the dog was safe. The dog was safe. And yet for me, they didn't care about what I was going through, but the dog had to be safe. There is no comprehension. There's no clarity. That entire situation was so convoluted and messed up. And God the whole time was like, Sky, stay quiet. Don't say tickety-boo. Mind yourself. Stay within our peace. Hold your authority. And so I said, okay, I will leave. I have 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks to change my entire life. And God said, be still and watch. And so I started to make phone calls. I talked to the people at the shelters. The shelter people, the workers there said, absolutely not, my love. If you come here, you will not leave the same person. This is not a place for someone like you. And I cried and I cried. Where am I supposed to go? The only place that made sense was to live in my car. Why would I go to a shelter with drug dealers and addicts and why would I do that when I have an ability to live in my car? So I made plans. And I made plans and I began to cultivate a potential and I started to organize. And so I organized. I got a bed for my car. It was January, so I got these mitten warmers that I would be able to put in my bed so that there would be some heat in the night. And they would last a few hours. I began to plan to live in my car. And the whole time, every single time I thought about being homeless, God said, you are not homeless. You are home within yourself. I am going to keep you safe. Don't worry about it. Let them hate you. Remember, they hated me first. Okay. I remained calm. For 2 weeks, I packed, I organized, I tried to plan as best as I could. A week and a half went by really quickly. I began working on an Etsy page and began sharing my stories and writing my poetry. And I started moving, actively making movements to what I wanted to achieve in my life. 2 days before they asked me to be removed from their place, 2 days before, it was like -20 out or something silly like that. All of a sudden, guilt hit my family members. Guilt that, oh God, what have we done? For 2 weeks, they were okay with me planning and observing my own stillness while I was preparing to live homelessly in a car. And all of a sudden, it became real to them. 2 days before I was asked to leave, they said, you know what? I think we made a mistake. We didn't actually think you would become homeless. Really? You didn't think I would become homeless. So what was the purpose? Well, we wanted to teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson? My God, you can't teach me a lesson. That's not your job. You think you're God? Do you genuinely think that you have the authority to teach me a lesson? Abso-frickin-lutely not. How do people become homeless? Easy. People give up on them. Hi, Angel.
Oh, boy's sick.
Oh no, puking?
Yeah, I guess
Oh, shitty. Yeah. All right, Angel. I'll send my love. We got a sick boy coming home from school early, apparently. Not my child, but a neighbor's. How do people become homeless? They stopped believing in themselves and they started believing, me too. Look at me. I believed that I was safe at my family member's house because they told me I was safe. They lied. They lied because they weren't even able to manage and master their own emotions. So the littlest trigger set them off. I knew in that moment I was not safe. It didn't matter who they were, if they were family or friends. I was only going to be safe if I was the one looking after me. Not even my family. To find a fence and literally force someone into homelessness, and then they call it love. To teach you a lesson. And the funniest part of all of this is not just the family members that I lived with were in on this. There were exploratory conversations with third parties that also agreed that it was important that Skye learn a lesson at this point in her life and that homelessness was the best solution. I found out quick who was for me and who was against me, who believed in me and who desired to observe my downfall. In my own family. And then they wonder why I am the way that I am. And then they wonder why they are the way that they are. There was never a connection. They lost faith in who I was, and I lost faith in all that I am because I trusted that they would help me. No one is going to heal you. No one is going to save you. No one is going to help you beyond the potentials of you helping yourself, because, my love, in this reality, you can only meet someone to the certain extent that you have met yourself. And if my family members have not met themselves as the God presence of the totality of creation, the presence of the Almighty, the Ancient of Days, if they are not able to see the love that pours in and through them, and even through my life, if they perceive my life as shitty, if they perceive me as a failure, if they perceive me as unsuccessful, all they are doing is perpetuating those same programs into their presence. And I will stand in my authority, fully knowing as a child of God that those lies fall at my feet, and I release them in love to be found back where they belong. I no longer hold people's words over myself. I no longer hold their words over them. I allow my moments to be so fluid through myself that even when I became homeless, I became fluid. Stop. Full stop, Sky. Allow the Spirit to work through you, to expose truth, and to bring you into your next now moment. Without my peace, I would not have been able to stay an extra few months until I found a house. Without my gentleness through the situation, if I had, reacted instead of staying calm, if I had fought them to stay, I would not have been welcomed to stay further when they did realize that, oops, she really is going to be homeless. Maybe we should encourage her to stay. Every single thing that I do holds purpose and meaning. Every single thing that I experience within this reality is God's opportunity for me to align with God within. Miracles happen, especially when we see no way out, when there is not a single way out. I didn't see a way out. I had no idea that they were going to invite me to stay until I found a place, and they gave me 2 months. They said, okay, is 2 months enough instead of 2 weeks? Then I had 2 months to figure my stuff out, and by the time those 2 months were done, my daughter and I had found a place to live, and we were safe. We didn't have anything. We had no furniture, no nothing, because again, that's another story for another time about my sweet family and their sacred love for me. How does anyone end up anywhere? It is all soul contracts for our evolution. My family did not attempt to hurt me. They did not attempt to teach me anything. Only God and I expand through wisdom. My family they're just the potential. They're the potential to show me where I belong in their lives. People will show you exactly where you belong. Don't get it twisted. But you are not alone. No matter what you are facing, no matter what situation you have that is exploring a negative potential in front of you, whether that's homelessness or losing a job or grieving the loss of a family member or a child. Oh my God, there are so many potentials of fear and pain within this reality, but you are not alone, ever. God uses all moments to explore and expand God's potential. God would never leave you alone because God exists within your holy presence as I am. How does someone become homeless? Because nobody cares. They don't care, and until you care, they won't care. Genuinely. They told me they loved me, that this was the best option for me, that they were going to teach me a lesson through fear, manipulation, and ignorance. That's not love. That's not love. Nobody teaches me a lesson. I grow in wisdom and I grow in Christ. They offer me potentials And then now I get to exist without their fear lingering over me. And I get to choose when I invite these people into my life. And I get to choose whether or not I invest my time in relationships where they once deemed me a failure. I get to move and I get to live and exist in my state of pure and perfect peace, regardless of their potentials or perspective of me. Choose you. Be brave and choose you. Speak authentically, speak authoritatively, and speak gently. You deserve to move in peace. You deserve to move in the pleasure of the Almighty. No matter what circumstance finds you, stay calm and allow God to unveil truth. I believe in you and I believe in us. That's my story of how I ended up homeless. Longest, weirdest, calmest, busiest 2 weeks of my life. How's our relationship now? I don't even care. I flow. I forgave them the moment that they attempted to hurt me. I don't hold offense. It's not possible. I love potently and I release authoritatively because spirit deserves better within my environment and spirit craves more. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I love you guys. Let me know if you enjoy my stories because I have a crap ton more. Genuinely. I hope that you enjoyed.